were being realistic. And then we had that hopeful. I hope this happens because it would be the first event that would, okay, let's get back to normal. And then when the announcement came out, it was just like kind of that affirmation of, yeah, we expected it, it sucks, but it's out of everybody's control.
Yeah, and at this point, like I talked about with the big corporate tracks, Sonoma, Cal Speed, etc., Miller, right, all these places, NOLA, it's gonna be the club owned tracks are gonna be able to open first because they kind of maybe control their own destiny a little bit. The Dixons or the Davis, I know some of them may be on county land. I know Prairie City FIU might have a little bit of a tough go because they're on true government land, but people are going to have to get out and support those programs and keep them going and keep the cash flowing. People are going to want to get out there and run. So just get out when they're able to open up to an event. Just get out there. Just get out there and support the event. Even if the event may be a bit under the radar, don't say a word about it. Don't wave your arms and go, hey, we're going to this. And on the other hand, don't say, can you believe those guys are going to that? Just if you don't want to go, don't go. If you want to go, go.
Yeah, and I was at a track this past weekend, and it was very strict where they had said, this is all we're going to allow. Don't show up with more people or I'm going to shut it down to everybody. You've got to keep your distance in the pits. And again, for the most part, all of us are racers anyway. It's not like we're hugging and hanging out, 2 inches away from each other. We all have our easy ups that are at least 10 feet wide. And so we already have our distance and everything else. But it was on everybody's mind to say, okay, don't post this on social media. Don't do that. Don't do this. And it was kind of sad, but at the same time, it was like, that's just what we have to deal with right now. And like you said, the clubs are, they should be the ones to start opening first, and they just need to be creative. And if you have a membership-based club, obviously open it up to your members first. And it's like if you have to charge a little premium to make sure someone's at the track to kind of police people, then do it. Most racers will understand. We're doing this everywhere.
I don't know what they're doing up there, but like I was at a track this weekend for a day, and it did the same thing. They get 15 drivers total. You can bring one crew person per driver, but the track fee was $100. And a couple guys said, "Oh, I can't believe it. It's usually always 40 or 50. Why is it 100?" Because it's only 15 people there. Like they have to cash flow somehow. Yeah. So, they have a person running the gate. They have a person checking you in. They have a person running the track. So there's $600 in payroll right there, and you want to have 15 people on staff. Yep. So now the track's making $900 barely, right? And that doesn't include opening the gate and paying rent on the property or whatever. So just there's gonna be a little premium. You're gonna have to deal with it, but look at it this way: you haven't raced in a couple months, so you've avoided a couple of race fees for sure.
Yeah, actually, that's a great segue because I wanted to ask you this question. You have to be sitting on a bunch of tires.
Yeah, I do have a fair amount of tires.
I mean,
I am the distributor for sure.
You are the distributor. We know you were getting geared up for Sonoma. We all were getting geared up for Sonoma.
Yeah.
I mean, is there anything you can do to, sell the tires at a discount, get some cash flow going? What's your position on that?
Is nice and as great that would be. Unfortunately, I can't do it. Simply for two reasons. Morally, one, I can't, and two, by contract, I can't. As a distributor, I want to make sure I protect my dealers. I don't want to compete with them. I mean, obviously, people come to my shop and people come to the races and they buy the tires. But the last thing I want to do is undercut every dealer out there, and the dealer needs to be able to make whatever he can make. And so I can't discount a tire to a retail customer. I'm sorry. It'd be great. I could sell a bunch of tires, but it's just not for long-term reasons and to be a legitimate business and to support all the dealers that have supported me for so long. I just can't do it. And it goes the same with the rock parts and the engines and People do call me. Trust me, people call me, and oh well, I know this engine is X amount of dollars. Can you do better? Because you're the distributor. No, I can't. Like I said, by contract I can't, but in my heart, I just couldn't do it to my dealers anyway.
Yeah. Well, knowing the price on the rock engines, there's not a lock there anyway.
That's good. And and I hope people respect that. I mean, I certainly know that the dealers probably respect that. The end user maybe shrug their shoulders and like, oh, we've all had plenty of people go, oh, nobody will know. Yeah, people will know.
Oh yeah.
And I'll know. So
if you sold me, let's just throw a number out. If you sold me a set of YLRs for $150, first thing I'm going to do is text my buddies, dude, Andy's got tires for X amount of dollars.
Yeah, yeah, sure, $150. That'd be great.
That would be great. It's been a while since I've been in the tire game.
That's far less than dealers buy them for. So just to put that out there to the public. But yeah, for sure. I mean, I get it, and I respect the question, but hopefully my people understand my reasons.
Yeah, for me it was kind of it was going to be a loaded question, but the other side of it was too, hey, we're all in this together. It's like, hey, what can we do to help Andy out? What can we do to help the racers out? Or like you said, you have dealers that are also in the same boat. I love that answer because I'm on both sides of it, and it is so hard trying to compete with an importer when you're a dealer. It's like you can't ever beat that price, and that's happened in NorCal where the special pricing came in. It's like better than the dealer price. Like why should I help you promote that? You just cut us out of the middle.
Yeah, that frustrates me too. So I mean, I'd rather if you want tires or engines, just buy them from your dealer and have your dealer call me and have me ship the stuff to them and support them because they need the cash flow just as bad as anybody does. So support the dealers for sure.
Well, okay. Well, since we didn't really kind of sketch this interview out or anything, in case you accidentally forget one, we'll give you a pass. But who are your dealers in NorCal?
Well, obviously Sweet Tech.
Yeah.
There you go. Ron White Racing.
Okay.
Cameron Karting. Greg Bell Leading Edge. Garrett Carlton at GFC. And that's off the top of my head. Who else do I have up there? And I know that. Is that it? That's most of them. If I'm missing you, I'm sorry. I don't have my computer in front of me.
Yeah, no, I know we're catching you off guard.
But for sure, I mean, there's a lot of great dealers up there that we support and support our program, and we certainly want to make sure that they're supported.
Yeah, I off the top of my head, I think you kind of rounded up the ones that I would think of, that 1 stock Vortex product, 2 stock Bridgestone, and 3 that were going to Sonoma.
Yeah, exactly.
But okay, so let's switch the subject away. Let's get into something a little bit more fun.
Okay, all right, fun.
All right. So as a driver, it's a two-part question.
We're going the Wayback Machine.
We're going way back. Yeah, back when you had to throw it on 2 wheels to get it through a corner. As a driver, what is your favorite NorCal track?
That's easy because I've only ever driven one. I've only ever driven Sonoma.
Sonoma, okay.
I never, I've never even been to Dixon or Davis or Atwater or Stockton, even though those are more central. I went to Prairie City once to meet with them, but I've never driven it. So I've never been to Reading. So, I mean, Sonoma is it.
So maybe they get a hold of Gary and have him put you in a cart, and you'll take it a couple extra days when you're in NorCal, and you can hit all 4 tracks in 2 days.
You don't want to see me in a cart. I went out. I actually jumped in a cart on some yesterday for the first time in 2 years, and 25 pounds. And I am so pathetically out of shape. On lap 5, I was begging for somebody to throw the checker flag. I literally pulled in 5 laps. Now,
but did you have fun?
I had fun, but So I'll brag a little bit because I can. So I did one warm up lap and 3 laps within 3/10, and then I scared myself and pulled in because I was so tired. so even though I'm a second and a half off, I can still crack off laps within a couple tenths of another. But as long as the races are 4.5 laps long, I am okay.
Perfect. Okay, now a more broader question. Just your favorite karting track ever as a driver.
Oh, as a driver. I have a couple. Because for different reasons. One is Xplex. Absolutely love the rock pile.
Slow, Nevada.
Slow, Nevada, no longer there. If you look over at exit when you cross exit 25 going to Vegas, if you look to your right, you see a big billboard and a cement plant.
Yep.
And what looks like a bulldozed piece of property, and it's there. I love that track because it was demanding on the driver, it was demanding on the chassis, and your engine had to be on point too. So it had to be all three. And it's where I won my one national championship, so that holds a special place in my heart. And the other one, oddly enough, is Willow Springs. I love the kart track at Willow Springs because it is a lot like Sonoma in the fact that it winds among itself, and you have to be so on point with rhythm and repetition that it's not a scare yourself track. Cause, there's all kinds of different tracks. Right? There's tracks where you can scare yourself, or tracks where you just have to have big balls, or this and that. So like Sonoma, Willow Springs is a very medium speed track. A lot of up and down, and so rhythmic. When I found that I could get in a rhythm, then you could almost drive the track closing your eyes if you were in tune that day.
Nice. I like that perspective. What
as far as but now not as a driver. So what's crazy is the layout that I always loved, but I never ever drove, is a track in Illinois called Norway Concept Haulers Motor Speedway. I don't know if you've ever been there.
Is that the one with the overpass?
Yes. So
yeah. In the cornfield.
Yeah, right. So you go down the straightaway, and there's a couple lefts into a right, whatever, little infield sections, and then you go on this back straightaway, full throttle back straightaway into a big long banked Monza, and if you jump off the top of the Monza, you end up in the cornfield. But it's big compression banked full throttle, and then you come down the hill even faster because they're coming down off that Monza into about the tightest hairpin you'll ever see on any track. And then if you come off that hairpin, you take a right and then come to a left, and then you come over a culvert, like a drainage culvert. Mm-hmm. And just when you land, you have to take a quick right and then a left back on the main straightaway. So to tell you how big the culvert is, they have they always used to have their cart retriever vehicle built as a really, really low tractor and a really, really low trailer. And kid carts on the trailer with a driver could actually go through the culvert. So that's how tall that culvert was, right? But that's the one I always like, oh man, I just was never there with a cart. I just was always there in other capacities, right? So that's one that I always wanted to drive. I love it. For some reason, that layout always just captured my imagination. So
when you hop back into a cart to drive, what is one driving tip that you tell yourself over and over again that you can share with our listeners that has always helped you throughout your karting career?
Breathe.
Especially
now that I'm even fatter than I've ever been. Breathe. Don't hold your breath. Breathe. I got to tell myself, breathe. And that's the easiest advice ever. It's a hard thing to do. I mean, newer people for sure understand that they end up holding onto the wheel too tight, getting arm pump, and realize they haven't breathed in a lap and a half, right?
Yeah.
I mean, aside from the normal, turn in later than you think. It's more about, getting on the throttle, getting back on the throttle early than getting on the brakes late, right? All those simple things. But for me, it's just remember to breathe.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just those simple tips too that for those that have been around for a long time, it's just a guy that doesn't know what karting is and trips across this podcast and goes, "Oh wait, he might remember that."